Hi, Laura Donnie here, and I'm so glad that you could stop by for just a moment. My last video got me thinking about something valuable that I could share with you, and that is, what do you do when you enter into a really difficult situation and circumstance? I can tell you that not only have I faced a lot of trauma and a lot of death in my own life and in my own personal family, but I also, having served as a chaplain or just as a family friend, I've also been called to some very difficult situations. I've been a part of a murder-suicide, time. I've been involved having to break the news to a young girl that her father had killed himself. I showed up when a girl found out that her brother had been murdered. There's a lot of difficult situations. And I think that these things are worth talking about, because not that I anticipate or expect that you will have violence encounter your world, and I hope that it doesn't, but there are other things that are moving up on the Richter scale of those things that can make you feel as equally powerless. Now, here's the thing I want to empower you with. Truthfully, nobody knows what to say in those times, and therefore I don't want you to use it as an excuse of why you shouldn't show up if the need is for you to do it. Not everybody's called to every situation, and so you do want to use wisdom, especially the higher on the scale that it goes. But for those that will, and those that can, and those that should, I want to give you just a few pointers. Number one pointer, go prayed up. Listen, you and I can do nothing apart from the Lord. So the first thing that we do is we go prayed up. When I went to go meet with that young girl to tell her that her father had killed himself, I was praying all the way. Listen, I didn't know what to do or say. I'd never been in that situation before, and I just prayed all the way. Well, that was tip number one. Pray before you show up. Number two, when you show up present and calm. There's something so powerful about the presence of peace. Peace is an essence, and it has the ability, if not immediately, to ultimately bring the environment to a much better and calmer place. And so what you want to do is you want to show up, and you want to show up peacefully, being present. Not, oh my God, no. If you're going in as a healer, you're going in prayed up, and you're going in as a person of peace. Tip number three, understand that when people have been met with a trauma, that they say all kinds of things. So I have been in a situation where, upon the news of a young girl hearing that her brother had been murdered, she began to say all kinds of things. Who knows what any of us would say at that moment, right? And so she began to say, I want to die, I don't want to be here, I want to be with him. And it really started to freak, the other family members out. And so they did what they felt was very natural, and that was to say to her, no, you don't mean that. And what I did is I took them to the side peacefully, and I said to them, listen, she is expressing her pain. Now, we're not going to let her go anywhere, but she needs to be able to express. She is in raw suffering right now. And much of what she's saying, she doesn't mean. She's just coming from a place of like a wounded animal. Please don't try to correct her, okay? Let's just let her emote. Let's let her just let it out. Because here's the thing. If somebody is having thoughts like, I want to kill myself, I want them to get it out. I don't want them shoving that inside their precious heart, where it can become corrupted and fed with many tears. No. Let's get it out. And that's important, because at some point, as I suspected it would happen, the girl turned a corner. And she wasn't talking like that anymore. And she was just weeping, and she wanted to be embraced, and she wanted to be hugged, and she wanted a cigarette. And hello, somebody find this girl a cigarette. Listen, I'm not a smoker, but I'm an ex-smoker, and I remember how much that meant to me at that moment. And so these key things right here would be very helpful. And I guess the last thing that I would add to that is, in these very stressful situations, stay with a person. In this case, the girl wanted to leave. Of course, I didn't let her leave, but I also didn't raise my voice. I didn't block her way. I just kept ensuring her. I kept encouraging her. I kept telling her, of course you're going to be able to go in just a little bit. And so she knew that she was being heard. We all want to be heard, right? She knew that she was speaking words that she needed to say. I know that's important too. And by the time, about 2 hours later, when her and her family did finally leave and go to wherever they were going, she was calm. She was as much in her right mind as a person could be at that time, but she was calm. She was able to be coherent, and she wasn't making threats anymore. I share all this because I am just like you. I get encountered with many unexpected and difficult circumstances, but here's what I want to assure you of. The Lord will be in it with you. Don't be afraid, if it's appropriate and if it's needful, for you to show up and do what needs to be done in order to bring healing, or at least a greater level of healing, to a person's life when they're facing a tragedy. I absolutely love this subject. I love this conversation. If you have a women's small group that you would love for us to have a conversation like this, if you are a church and you would like to invite me in and let me speak to your people and help them to become an army of healers, I would love for you to message me. I would love for you to go to lauradani.com and find some resources there, as well as just help make the world a place where hurting people can become healed. Have a great day.